folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you with my co-host David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers, and of course me, the Wizard.
The Wizard of Reality. And welcome, my dear friends.
Get the wizard hat on.
You look like a wizard. Yeah, you do. And the white wizard at that. My goodness gracious. And where is your staff? Ooh.
Where's my staff? Dang it.
We greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. There you go.
It has a yeah, and it has
we haven't been with you in a couple of weeks due to unforeseen circumstances. I've been in the hospital twice, and I'm out. Yippee. Still breathing, heart still ticking, and I'm still kind of sort of walking. But we always greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And we thank you so much for showing up tonight. I know we've missed a couple of shows, but our story for tonight is The Adventures of Living Statue. So if you can wait us out, we've got that story coming up. And thank you, Robert, as always. I know I'm sorry I missed our shows because we were doing so well with one, one right after the other. And then we just sort of had a hiccup. But we're back.
Yeah. I know. Well, it kind of went hand in hand. Remember that one day you were gone, and you were like, I might make it back. I might be able to do it from my phone. And I'm like, I'm at work yet, man. And then the last time I was at work yet too. It was like work would not leave me alone either. And so, I mean, I wouldn't have made it. So, hey, it is what it is. And we were here tonight.
I was in the hospital, and before I was able to do a live stream from the hospital, but this time there was no connection, no nothing. It was just like okie dokie.
Huh? Yeah.
But we're here tonight, and we hope that we're glad that you're here. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, because I love doing this show. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it was Halloween, and I wanted to do more, and we didn't get to do it. I wanted to do several shows on cryptids and spooky things, but tonight we're going to do it anyway because there's a lot of spooky cryptids out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are.
They're out there. I mean,
I got a few in my backyard.
Let's go with especially Native American ones. I gotta pull some of these up here. That they talk about. Here it is. Maybe this is the one. Oh yeah. Here's the one I want. Okay, I gotta get these pulled up here. We're gonna first talk about this guy, and this is one of the scariest ones of the Native Americans, especially the Algonquin culture area. And let me post that for you. Maybe some of the ones down in your area too, but we'll get to that soon enough. Come on here. Computer's working a little slow, people, so don't know why. Have to bear with me. So might be one of those nights where you have to take over for me if my computer drops out, eh? Is the Wendigo. Yeah, the Wendigo. Do you know what the Wendigo is all about? It's about a deer cross man creature created by eating human flesh. And so we're going to read a little bit about it's a mythological creature, an evil spirit originating from the Algonquin folklore. The concept of the Wendigo has been widely used in literature and other works of art. Of course, easy pictures to draw that are spooky and been around for a long time. The Wendigo is often a spirit, sometimes depicted as a creature with human-like characteristics, which possesses human beings and is said to cause victims a feeling of insatiable hunger. I heard that when a person can become a Wendigo by eating other humans and then committing murders. And then once they eat the humans, they're craving for human flesh and blood. And of course, the brains it grows and grows, and they can't stop the hunger. The more they eat, the hungrier they get. They use the skin and the flesh to cover their own bones as they shrink away into thin and spooky creature as they are. They go psycho. They have a culture. Let's see what it says. People are telling their kids stay in the house. There's stories of the Wendigo. Though, let's see, it says here, it appears in legends of the Athabascan people in Northwest Pacific. It is a cannibalistic creature. Let's see. So anyway, it was with Ojibwe, the Cree, the Kapaki, or something, Inuit. I can say that one. The Wendigo is cannibalistic supernatural being, strongly associated with winter, the north, and coldness, famine, and starvation. Yeah. So just
can
what you want.
Can I ask a question in here? So it seems like it was seen, if it was seen from the Ojibwe, so that'd be the northeast, right?
Yeah.
And then, but it's also seen in the northwest, correct?
Yeah.
So my point is, the Wendigo wasn't just in one area, and it seems like it, whether it was the same being or not, it traveled across, northern Ohio, northern United States, and southern Canada, all the way to the West Coast. So these critters were, not just in one area.
Okay, because I agree. So with that is, I could see that happening because there was deer and elk, in this creature, and starvation came every winter as it was cold, and people would starve, and the legend goes that it was because people were starving. They would eat each other to survive, and when you're eating people, it's a scary thing. You wake up one morning and you have somebody here, chowing down on the kids, mom and dad. Look at the, and then here, dad's on all fours. He's eating children. He's turning into a Wendigo. We got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And I mean, something like this, the stories go because, hey, where's your wife and kids? I'm and by this time you're mad, you're crazy because you're starving, and you ate your family, and it's like the Donner Party, when they found them, they all look like skeleton people. And and I can imagine, what that would become in a, as they run off into the woods because they know they did something wrong or something, or maybe they got rabies or something like that, and nobody really knew, especially back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And there's also, what is it? The Kuru on the islands where the cannibals ate each other, and the brains were a good thing, delectable. But then, they all went crazy from eating each other. And wasn't it? I think it was Kuru, the disease. But so, there was absolutely, physical evidence of people getting a disease from eating brains from, their relatives. So just saying.
Yeah, I know. Drinking blood, eating brains, and then you turn into this creature, and It's just one of those things. Okay, so we got lots of cryptids to talk about tonight. Believe it or not, there are so many. Okay, oh crap. Hang on a second here. I gotta put this up. Let's go with what's one of the big ones that you know of. Let's see if you can guess this one. It's one we talk about, and it's high in the sky. That's my hint. It's high in the sky. We've told stories about this.
The Mothman.
Nope, that's a modern day urban legend, believe it or not. We're talking cryptids from trying to stall because my computer's slow and I can't put this up on screen. Sorry. It's the Thunderbird.
There were stories of a Mothman type critter that goes a long way back. So, but just saying, they consider the Mothman to be a new cryptid, but there were stories of the Mothman, and that some people might relate to the Great Phoenix, but but anyway.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Anyway, here's a Thunderbird, and we told many a story about the Thunderbird, how they would pick up people and take them to their nest and feed them to the, or save somebody. Either way, a Thunderbird is a creature associated with large bird-like animals that live anywhere in northern Canada, Alaska, all the way to Central America. And and the Indian. See, here's the thing: the Indians knew what a bird is. They knew what an eagle is, but they came up with this Thunderbird. Obviously, there was such birds. I believe. I really do believe at some point they might have gotten killed off. Like here this picture is. I don't know if I can blow it up, but it won't let me blow it up. Anyway, it says here the native. Now it works. Like I said, it's my computer's running really slow today, and I got nothing. I shouldn't have touched it. I'm sorry.
It's trying to load.
Lucky says I saw a Thunderbird while kayaking with a Wampanoag. I hope I said it. Wampanoag. Not seen as scary, but he saw it as a warning. And as you can see here, in a museum somewhere, is this bird real or not? I don't know. Is it a thing of trick photography? We can only guess. But people have seen these big giant birds. You know what I mean? It's not a new thing. Oh, come on. Oh man, this thing is slow today. It is really slow. Come on. We got to coax it along. But we got everything from there. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I went too far. Okay. The tribes across, hang on. I was gonna sneeze, but especially along the Pacific coast and the Great Lakes area, have stories depicting enormous birds of prey. Some stories told that these birds were so large and enormous birds that they flapped their wings, thunder was created, lightning flashed out of their eyes, and water fell from their backs, creating rain. The tribes used Thunderbirds to explain some of the things that happen naturally, such as storms and other forms of weather. The legend of the Pasquamanides, for example, describes a quest of two Native Americans in search of the source of thunder high in the mountains. One story says that there was a Thunderbird who battled an enormous killer whale. When the two beasts fought, they destroyed much of the land, knocking down trees and causing much destruction. Although dangerous and powerful beings, Thunderbirds were also seen as benevolent natural spirits, and they sometimes assisted the tribes in their search for food during periods of famine. Indigenous rocks known as thunderstones are the eggs of these creatures, according to some legends. So, anyway, with that, I want to say is if you're thinking of like a thunderbird, if you're out in the wilderness and you're looking for a dead body of some sort, you would probably look up in the sky and you could see the turkey vultures, circling.
Yep.
And if the turkey vultures are circling, there must be something dead nearby.
Yeah, they don't circle for fun. Now, late in the evening, the vultures will circle to gather up all their friends before they light into the trees for the night. But a turkey vulture can smell a dead carrion from miles and miles and miles away. It's amazing. So, but in the old days, that's how you look, and today as well. You see some vultures circling around. Go check it. I mean, if you're looking for, a hiker or somebody, that could very well be. Did you go silent? Uh-oh. Did his page freeze up? Uh-oh.
So the internet is really slow today.
Yeah, it really is. You froze up for about a minute.
Yeah. We all know what this one is. This is the water.
There's Nessie.
What? Yeah, well, lake monsters in general. Even the Native Americans believed in lake monsters. Cryptids from the water. And I suppose that back in the day, you're boating in one of those little boats and a creature comes up out of the water and turns you over, you're going to believe in lake monsters too. I mean, they have them all over the place. How many lake monsters do you think there is?
You mean in different areas?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. How many lake monsters do you think?
There's some up in the northwest. I know Lake Huron and up in there. There's supposedly some something living in the lakes up there in the Great Lakes. There's Nessie, then the fjords. I don't know of any others. I think there's one that might be in Russia. And I think there's one that might be in China as well. So I would say 6. That's my number.
6. Okay. Well, I think you're off a little bit because I was really surprised to find out. We're going to go to Lake Monsters. It'll boot up here. Okay. Lake Monsters. And here's the list. I was going to, clip it, but there were so many of them. Listen to this. Lake monsters. Aoi, bear lake monster. The beast of Brusaco. The beastie, Bronson the dragon. Canadian albino shark. Champ. Charles Mill lake monster. Chippewa. The Cressy. The Smet lake monster. Dublin lake monster. Etchy. Essie. Giant salamander. Gurkey. Hawkberry River Monster, Hudson River Monster, Impampago, Izzy, Carrie the Beast, King Tussie, Cussie, Labber Monster, Lagafort Worm, Lake George Monster, Lake Ontario Serpents, Lake Tikachi Monster, Lake Utopia Monster, Lake Van Monster, Upinlop, Achi Monster, Lukuawa, Mambia, Mamahamba, Manapengo, Manitou, and it goes on and on. Monster of Boar Lake. We can go on and on. Nessie, here's Nessie, the Loch Ness monster. Northern Shore monster. I can't even say that one. Ogie Okapogo. I've heard of that one. Old Greenie, Old Slavey, Poinky, Bressy, Presswood Pete. I don't know that one. Georgesman, Sharky, Tahoe Tessie, Theus Lake Monster, Ugly Merman, Verberg Fortress Moat Monster, Walla Walla Lake Monster, White River Monster, and Winnepago or something like that, lake monster. And as you can see, all the different lake monsters there could be. And obviously, people have seen these things in order to, of course, scientists say it's a plesiosaur, and it's a Nessie is, of course, the most famous one. And it says most lake monsters are from Canada and the Great Lakes. The second most come from the United States. However, Africa and Japan surprisingly have a wider variety of lake monsters than the United States. So there you go. Lake monsters in a lake near you. Now, did you ever think there was that many lake monsters?
I was trying to be conservative with 7. Of the areas, but I knew there were quite a few up around in Canada and up in the Great Lakes.
Yeah, it makes me want to not go in the lake. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go swimming. Yeah, don't want to go swimming there. So as that goes, what's the next one on the list? And we're going to do, oh boy, people are going to love this one. This one here is Bermuda. Now you're back. Yay.
Yeah, it just kicked me right out.
I thought for sure you were going to be gone. I was like, oh no. Yeah, it wasn't me. Yeah, Richard says Godzilla comes right from the sea. But anyway.
Yeah, that's
here's
right.
One. This is the yeah, Bermuda. Did you ever hear of the Bermuda blob? This is in Bermuda, the island, Bermuda. It's called the Bermuda blob.
I think so. As a child, way back when.
Yeah, apparently this isn't the only one. There was multiple Bermuda blobs that have washed up on the shore. Everything since the 1800s or later. They keep finding these blobs, giant blobs of whatever it is. We don't know. Makes you wonder what the heck is out there in the freaking ocean. You know what I'm saying? You want to go swimming in the ocean? Not likely anymore.
Big critters. Strange things that if you didn't see them, you'd never know.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, it makes you think I'm going to stay on shore. Now we're going to take a trip all the way to Wisconsin, believe it or not. And we're going to go to this one right here. I can get it up. Yeah, hang on a second. This, I don't know if you ever heard of this, the Beast of Bray Road. The tailing Wisconsin werewolf. Lives in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Believe it or not. It's said to be a man who turned into a wolf and ate his family up. And he became a wolf. And this is a actual picture of, he walks, people have sighted him walking on 2 legs. He has kind of arms of a human, but he walks on 2 legs, and he's really tall. and big, apparently. Um, actual sightings of a wolf man. Oops, wrong way, wrong direction. Sorry. Um, makes you wonder about going bump in the night. You know what I mean? Seeing them on the highway. Look at that in the shadows. Comes out late at night. They see him late at night. But this is a thing. This is a real thing. Are these werewolves real? I don't know. I really don't know. But it is a thing. The natives were not lying when they said there was creepy crawlies in the woods, and they stayed in their teepees at night, and they had they were thinking ahead of time. You know what I'm saying?
And they put
some real good ones here.
And they put up special things on their teepees and around the area, hoping to ward off some of these critters.
Yeah.
One of the things,
exactly.
You listen to some stories, as I've listened to some people, and they're like, we have this talisman, we put up this thing at our teepee, and I've asked, well, did it work? And they were like, well, we didn't get eaten. We didn't get attacked.
Yeah.
Well, but my question was, but did it work? Well, it didn't harm us. Yeah, but somebody else got harmed. But so, some of those things is like, I believe in a good talisman, but when I asked, well, did it work? We don't really know. So anyway,
speaking of wolves, what about the skinwalker? Who hasn't heard of the skinwalker? And what is a skinwalker? It's here it comes, slow but surely, is a person with supernatural ability who turns into any creature. Back in the day, they said that a shaman would use a pelt or a animal skin to turn into whatever creature they wanted to. They could become anything. This was more of a southern, Navajo. We're talking south. First we did to the north, with the Wendigo, but now we're the Navajo, and they were well documented. Let's see, it says they had supernatural power by breaking a cultural taboo. Again, okay. This is done with song and dance, used to curse instead of to heal. Although both men and women can become, they're generally thought of be usually childless women become witches. And not every witch is a skinwalker, but every skinwalker is a witch. How about that? Although a skinwalker is mostly frequently seen as a coyote, a wolf, a fox, eagle, or owl, or maybe even a crow, the Shashi is said to have the power to assume the form of any animal they choose, a decision based on what specific abilities are needed at the time. A skinwalker may use a bird for fast travel in pursuit or escape. Some Navajo also believe that the skinwalkers have the ability to steal the face of another person. Skinwalkers are commonly believed to be the color white while in animal form. This is how many distinguish a skinwalker in animal form from a regular animal. The Navajo believe that if you ever lock eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into your body. Alternately, some Navajos believe that if you make eye contact with a skinwalker, your body will freeze up with fear, and the skinwalker will use that fear to gain power and energy. Skinwalkers, like many other benevolent legends, gain power from the victim's fear. It is said to say that skinwalkers out loud will attract them to you, as if you've been marked. To say their name out loud is to invite them into yourself. So don't say it 3 times, Beetlejuice. 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 Anyway, that's from the
No,
other
wait,
day.
wait.
What do you?
Wait. I want to add to the Skinwalker.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. What do you think of all the Skinwalker stuff?
Okay, so as a shaman in training myself, I have, been into some of this stuff and have been told by some medicine men that I have worked with is that to become a Skinwalker, you must go to the dark side of the shaman. And that there are incantations, there are ceremonies and things that are related strictly for that. Now, not all shamans who learned how to skinwalk were skinwalkers in the sense that they were evil, because there are many stories that I have read that we have talked about where one of the critters has become a mole and has snuck into a camp and has seen something, grabbed something, went back to become a mole, and stole themselves out of the camp. So the skinwalker or the shaman who could go and look at another tribe's camp, so that they could go and see what was going on, that they could tell what was going on. So if they could become the coyote, if they could become the fox. And so there were a lot of times that they assumed the shape of a fox, in that they learned how to sort of project the face of it. And so if somebody looked over there, they'd go, oh, looks like a fox. When actually it wouldn't be, he would be pretending to be the fox. Where the skinwalker would be the fox. He would literally change like a werewolf into the fox, which is different than having the fox sort of like a hallucination, a hologram. So, somebody looks and says, "Ooh, look, there's a coyote." Well, that's the shaman acting like the coyote. So there were a lot of shamans who learned that trick. And it's like magic, but they're not turning into the skinwalker. So the shamans who could skinwalk like a coyote or a fox to look at other camps, count how many warriors there were to see what was going on, they were not looked upon as being bad. They were highly regarded. They were like the ultimate scout. So I just wanted to interject that. But in order to attain that, every one of the medicine men that I spoke with was like, you have to go to the dark side for that. It just, you're not working for the white side if you go that direction. So that's why in the skinwalker idea, that there were those who learned the technique to appear as a coyote versus be the coyote. Which I find fascinating. Like, what? But, to be the trickster, which is, to falsify yourself. And yeah, they would have, if they could, they would have worn a coyote skin and they would have slunk around like a coyote, but they would not have been the coyote. So does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that.
So make sure that if somebody says skinwalker, do they mean the dark side, or are they talking about, because the Cherokee had skinwalkers too, and so did some of the Seminole and the Creek and down here in this area, but not all of them were the devil monster. They were literally shamans who could take a skin or a hide and, you know, and become it in that way, like a really good actor. Think about it that way. They were really, really, really good actors and could play the part of the animal. Just like in some of the powwows where they have like the eagle dance, you know, and there are very specific steps for the eagle dance and how they move and how they lift their arms and how many stomps they take and looking up to the sky and then coming back around. You know, it's the story of how the eagle soars and how they try to mimic that in their dance. Mimic, not become. So, but anyway, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, no, it's so true. So, okay. They're all talking about Ohio. Ohio. And I think we got one from Ohio. As soon as my screen changes.
My birthplace.
Have you ever heard? Did you ever hear of the Grassman? Grassman. No?
I think so, but I didn't know it was from Ohio.
Yeah, the Grassman, also known as the Ohio Grassman, from Kenmore Grassman or Orange Eyes, is a tall bipedal hominid that stalks the woods of Ohio. Hence the Ohio Grassman, I guess, is reported similar to Bigfoot or Sasquatch, I suppose. The sightings, first prominent sightings of Grassman occurred in the small village of Minerva, Ohio, in 1978, when the grandchildren of a Minervan resident, Evelyn and Howell Clayton, also with their friends, ran inside screaming about a hairy monster they saw in the gravel pit outside. The couple went out to investigate. They saw what the crying children had described. It was covered in dark matted hair, sitting in the pit and fiddling with discarded trash. It was estimated to be about 300 pounds, and the Claytons fled. But this would not be their last encounter with Ohio's ape man or the grass man. The Claytons would see the grass man many times after their initial encounter. One night it was seen peering at them through their kitchen window. The Howes ran for his gun, but the primate was gone before he returned. The area was later investigated by police, and although there was no sign of the hairy humanoid, several faint footprints were observed in the mud, and a terrible smell still lingered in the air. The Ohio Grassman was later seen by the Claytons atop a hill near the strip mine at night. In the next month, in broad daylight, of course, the couple observed two hairy bipedals on the same hill. It was only after these reports that the Claytons made that the startling connection was made days before in the gravel pit incident, and the Claytons' German shepherd was found dead, its neck broken, presumably killed by the hairy beast. The Minerva case, along with the infamous Sasquatch, would be one of the most complex and important Bigfoot investigation in Ohio's history. So there you go. The first mention of such creatures roaming in the Buckeye State in the 1700s, Indians native to Ohio grassland spoke of a race of bipedal ape men, referring to them as wild ones in the woods that lived nearby. The Native Americans would leave out food for the creatures in an effort to keep the peace. Again, in the 1800s, sightings of similar hairy bipedal were made by the Ohio River, and the hominid had apparently tried to throw a man out of his carriage, but retreated when his daughter, riding as a passenger, threw several stones at it. So there you go, the Ohio Grassman. What do you think of that? Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, but I've heard of one that was more out west. I've not heard of that one.
Scotty Boy says he's heard of it. He says, I'm pretty sure I bought some weed from an Ohio bought some weed from the Ohio grass man. Now that's funny, people. That's a good one.
He was all matted
Okay,
and
so
covered in mud. The Ohio weed man. I'm sorry, grass man. Uh,
that's right. They were talking about meth heads. Well, the next thing you know, the Ohio grass man is out of business because meth is taken over. Witchy Moon says, I can tell you that I experienced more supernatural activity in Ohio than anywhere else. There you go. Ohio is the hot spot, people. Ohio, go check it out. Okay, let's go
yeah,
back, and there's a couple more on here.
I was at Serpent Mound myself, and I gotta say, there's some really intense energy there. It really is. Also, up around Old Man's Cave area, there's some interesting energy there as well.
Yeah, we're going to take a trip now to Alaska. Who lives in Alaska that can tell us this is true? The Tinuit is a legendary race from the Inuit mythology. According to the legend, they were first inhabitants of their land and described as tall people who were taller and stronger than the Inuit, but easily scared off and extremely shy. Most of the evidence demonstrates that by the 1500s, they had essentially disappeared. And maybe isolated remnants still survive today. So this was a culture that they called the Dorsets were first identified as a separate culture, and in 1925, archaeology has been critical of adding to knowledge about because the Dorsets were essentially extinct by the 1500s due to difficulties in adapting to medieval warm period. So they inhabited the Alaskas in during the thousands, began a displacement. So there were real people, and see, they got skeletons of giants in Alaska. Were these people real, and do they still exist today? As you can see, the Inuit draw pictures of polar bears, so they knew what, that's the thing. When these natives were talking about cryptids or things they seen or things that might be real, I believe that they actually they knew what the difference between a thunderbird and a eagle is, or a polar bear and a you know what I'm saying? What do you say to that? I'm sure they're not stupid. They knew what they were talking about, right?
Right. I mean, outside was their living room, and so it's like
Exactly.
when I lived down here in my little area. If I look out my window, I know what it looks like. If something's out of place, or if there's a critter going by, if that ain't my neighbor, no, that's some great big grass creature or Sasquatch or something. It's like, whoa, what's that? That ain't a bear. So these folks knew what they saw because they lived it. So the idea that folks like, well, they were just making up a story. But here's the thing. Where did they get the idea to make up the story? Usually there's some kind of something
that's right.
that provokes the story, right? So here they are, they've got the story, and well, wait a minute, and they describe it. Well, I don't know. They're probably just imagination. Guess again.
Yeah. I know. It's like dragons. Where did they get the idea of dragons all over the world? Even though these continents weren't together, but yet they had these animals, and they knew what they all looked like. Scotty Boy is right. Why would the Chinese have all real animals on the astrology calendar, then decide to throw in a dragon? Exactly. I did some shows on that too, and that's totally exactly right. Why would you put a dragon on there when everything else is real animal? unless the dragon was a scarce real animal, and you just seen it once in a while, kind of thing. And who knows? Maybe these animals are still living. We're going to go to the Skunk-a-Workin right now. This is a
But
North American.
back 3,000 years ago, dragons might have been very common in China, and so the idea of
Well,
that they were very scarce. It might have been absolutely the opposite. There were red dragons, there were green dragons, there were yellow dragons. Because why would they come up with a different color of dragon?
absolutely. And
if they were just, to me, a dragon would just look just like a lizard. It'd be a dull gray or green or something. But no, they have some of these dragons that are absolutely vibrant with different colors. And now, of course, the Chinese have really good imaginations, but again, wouldn't they, if it was just a dragon, why would they want to dress it up with lots of colors if it was just a mean old dragon? You know what I mean?
Well, that and the fact the idea came from somewhere. It came from something real, even if they added big teeth and fire coming out of its breath and all this other stuff to it. It came from something that was big and looked like a lizard, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
It still came from something that was probably real. Just like this. Now, the thing is nowadays we're starting to find some of these animals as people encroach on nature. Nature has nowhere to go but in the back of somebody's pickup truck, like some of these pictures are showing. And this is the Skunk-a-Workin, and it's here in the Americas. It's a American hyena, apparently. The animal mentioned in American folklore. It's larger than a wolf. According to these people, the creature, unknown to modern sources, means carries off dogs. An animal shot in 1866 by this guy Israel Ammon was what is now on Sun Ranch in Montana, has been suggested by Coleman as an example of the mysterious creature. It was mounted and put on display in the general store. Now is in the Henry Lake Museum in Idaho. Sherwood named the beast ridiculous, the stuffed trophy. The only piece of physical evidence was never examined by qualified scientists and were missing in sometime before and was rediscovered in 2007. But as you can see, they have pictures. It says here, other suggested more mundane examples. For example, between December 2005 through November or December to about a year, after unusual looking wolf killed 36 sheep and injured 71 more in Macomb and surrounding counties in Montana. It was shot on November 2nd, 2006 in Garfield County, Montana, after killing a grand total of 120 sheep. Initially, Montana wildlife officials were unable to identify the 106-pound reddish-yellow animal. Lauren Coleman suggested it was a Skunk-a-Workin, and it has been since been identified by Montana Fish and Wildlife and Parks as a 4-year-old male wolf and unusually red in color. But you know how that goes with scientists. We got to name it something so people don't freak out. You know what I'm saying? And so I think when they got a wolf that was unusually big, but then again, you start looking at these things, and here's I wonder if it'll come up. When you start looking at these things, and it's not like the other things that you normally see, and there's only 1 or 2 of them out there, well, at some point, you got to say, it must be. It must be something. Is it a cross? Is it a hybrid? Is it something out there that's exists? I don't know. We can just help but wonder. When you find these animals, and there's only, if there's 2 or 3 of them, you're never going to see them. The majority of people, I mean, if you ever been to Montana, it's so hilly and mountainous and thickly wooded. you could hide a whole herd of animals in there and nobody'd ever find them. Look at this thing. It's huge, giant teeth. It's a big animal. Does that look like a wolf? Yeah, but it's big. That's a big wolf. I mean, look at it. It's taking up that whole tailgate of that truck. That's all I can say. You know what I mean?
I've been up in the Bitterroot Mountains.
I wonder why they call it a dog eater.
Yeah, I've been up in the Bitterroots of Montana and spent the night up in the clouds with just about 20 feet south of the snow line. And you're absolutely right. You could, there's all kinds of stuff that can live up there in them mountains. We have counties down here that have more population in the state than the whole state of Montana. So, and there's a lot of property in Montana in the Bitterroots. So, could something exist up there? I believe so. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing up there to interfere with it.
That's right. And if there's only, and that's another thing. If there's only a few, you're probably never gonna see one. The majority of people, and it's like a Bigfoot. If there's only 10 of them, and you see one here and one there, you're never gonna see it, but somebody might get a glimpse of it, and by the time they whip out their phone or their camera, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, or it is seen as that was a big wolf.
Yeah, because you see it out of the corner of your eye, or you see it deep in the woods, and you see it moving, and you go, "Oh, it's a bear. It's got to be a bear," because that's what you know. And your brain associates it with things you already know. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to go to the Inuit. Going back to Alaska.
Hang on, one other thing. And also, you can get a wolf that'll howl, you'll get a dog that'll bark, but if this critter doesn't do any of the above, or just gives a small bark or so if the animal doesn't make any noise, that's also going to make it easier for it to hide. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yes.
Has anybody heard one?
Well, yes, I mean? It sounds like something.
Well, I saw one, but did you hear it?
Well, and that's the thing too. How would you distinguish the difference between a wolf and something that's really similar to a wolf? You know what I mean? Might be just a hair different, but you're only going to hear it, and you can't associate it with something you're actually seeing. So there you go.
But if it doesn't make a noise.
Well, wolves will make noises. I'm just saying.
I know, that's my point. But if that critter doesn't make noise.
Well, yeah. You could walk right by you, especially up there in the mountains. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
If it didn't make a noise, you'd never hear it. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We got the Amikook. I don't know how else to say it. Amikook is a legendary creature from Inuit mythology. This monster is known for bearing from the Bering Strait of Alaska. Amikook is described as a huge, heavy creature with slimy, moist skin. And instead of legs, it has 4 human-like arms and hands, which are for locomotion and capturing its prey. It is also said to be capable of burrowing underground and emerging in inland lakes. Supposedly, it preys mostly on fishermen and people foolish enough to bathe in the sea, but it is also said to consume large quantities of fish. And here is its rendering of what it looks like. Ugh.
Did you see the
run into one of these things or be swimming in the ocean when it just jumps up?
Do you know where the Bering Strait is?
Has 4 human hands to propel itself. Yes, between Alaska and Russia.
Yeah, well, you know how cold the water is?
Right?
So just think about that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a yeah. Well, whales live in the water, and I suppose this is one of those things. I mean, why would they draw? Why would the Indians tell stories about an animal like this? I mean, you'd see polar bears, and how would they get this mixed up with a polar bear? Polar bears they know what a polar bear looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when they've seen something like this and it looks like this, I imagine that this was or is a real creature. Just people just don't see them very often. And there it is
Can I add
again.
something?
Different looks. Yeah, go ahead.
There is a video somewhere out there. I think Wayne Wayne did a thing one time with critters and things, and there's a tsunami, I believe, in Japan, and you can see this critter crawl up out of the water and up the side of a building, out of the ocean, up the side of a building, and scurry across. And it could very well be something like that. And so they have been spotted in, I think it was Japan. It might have been Thailand or somewhere, but I think it was Japan.
Yes. Yeah, during that earthquake, the earthquake and the tsunami. They had the tsunami and then the earthquake, and these things rushed out of the way of the tsunami, and they were running up the buildings and trying to get out of the way of the waves. And that when something like that happens, all it tells me is that these critters fear for their lives. You know what I'm saying? They are absolutely must be feel endangered from the tsunami. And if that's true, then these things have brains and they have jets and all kinds of other stuff that goes along with that. It really makes you start wondering then.
Well, if you look at the critter, whether that one or the one that climbed up the side of the building, if you've ever been in the ocean and have played in the waves and have been caught by one that's just about 6 foot, let's talk about a 10-foot or 12-foot wave. That puppy hits you, and the amount of force, you get tossed around in the ocean and get deposited on the bottom, if you're lucky enough not to drown. So one of those things would be smart enough to get out of the turbulence of a tsunami and being thrown around and tossed around in the water. So even an octopus they're quite smart, would be smart enough to hunker down or get the hell out of the way. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I could see it. Giant waves, whatever they are, let's go find some place that's not so, turbulent.
That's right. That's right. Let's see what left here. Come on, I wish the picture would go up.
You're going to another picture, I would just be wondering, could they in any way be related to a kraken?
Maybe that's what krakens were based off of. Who knows? We just don't know. And last but not least, we have our Bigfoot sightings. I mean, who doesn't like a good Bigfoot sighting? And I don't know if anybody in here has seen a Bigfoot, a glimpse of Bigfoot. I have never, in North Dakota, I probably will never. I guess, but when you get to the Pacific Northwest where, or Montana or those places that are thickly wooded, things like that could be out there. They're far and few between. But I do believe that they probably exist. And they know that humans, what's the first thing a human is going to do? Oh my gosh, I got to go shoot it, because that's what we do. Oh my gosh, there's something out there. Let's go kill it. Right?
I bet you back in the day, there were some stories back in the day that, some of the mountain men, some of the early pioneers had shot one of them and kind of ticked it off, and they got they got beat up brutally by the thing. And finally, I think one of the I think the story was that there were two men together, and they saw one, shot at it, hit it, they think, and it ran away a little bit, but later on it came back and came into the camp and just mutilated the one guy that had shot him and severely injured the other guy. And he made it out of the woods and told the story, like back in the 1850s or something like that.
Well, exactly. I got this whole book here. If you haven't seen this book, Bigfoot and Wild Men and Giants, it's filled with these stories. And they don't call them Bigfoots. They call them giants or wild men. And
they don't call them Sasquatch.
That's the thing. Nope, they don't call them Sasquatch or nothing. They call them wild men, and this is how they picture them too. This was, how they would picture them with hair, and it looks like a gorilla maybe or a man. Most of the articles here, I'll read one here. This is from. Yes, they had a tail. They drew it with a tail, believe it or not. Here's one. It's a short one. This is second art. Okay, this is from Salem. Okay, Ohio again. Ohio. Wild man has terrorized the people of Knox County. Mount Vernon, January 26th. The town of Danville, 13 miles from here. This is 1897. Is in a state of frenzy over the queer antics of a wild or crazy man who spends most of his time in the woods. Near there, at night, he has been seen to enter an old log cabin on the farm of Widow McElroy. Upon an investigation, it was found that the hut contained a bed made of sheepskins, while the floor was strewn with bones of dead sheep. The man is said to be 8 feet tall and wears clothing only to his waist, while he bears his arms almost reach to his feet, and his hair about 5 feet long, flowing from his shoulders. School has been dismissed in 3 districts, and Jasper Langberg and has organized a party to hunt the man. It is said he carried a child for half a mile and then dropped him uninjured, but fearfully frightened. Businesses are suspended at Danville, and people talk of nothing but the wild man. So see what I mean? What's the first thing you do? Oh my gosh, there's a wild man. We got to go hunt them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if he was stealing children, that might,
Or was he? I mean, he had a pile of bones.
Right,
and sheep,
or was he?
It just makes okay. Oh, here's another short one. This was in Butte Minor, Montana, August 19th, 1894. Wild man from Oregon. Ranchers scared out of their senses by strange figure. Boise, Idaho, August 18th. A wild man has been found on the McLaren Creek in Oregon for many days. Past ranchers have heard strange noises among the willows and the wild wail of a human being, blended with the lonesome yelps of coyotes. Woo! Yesterday, Lloyd Garrison was at work on Mayhem Creek, where a wild man suddenly made his appearance and frightened him terribly. He heard a series of incoherent yells, and then out of the brush came the figure of a man with a scanty rag about his loins, his eyes wild and protruding from their sockets, and his emaciated body covered with short hair of a dark color. When he saw Garrison, he gave an agony scream and fled into the timber. So there you go. Another wild man. Yeah, and of course, scared everybody. I mean, and all these people, they're always saying, I heard scream, he was covered with hair, and now that same wild man is turned into Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever it is. Let's see. Oh, here's one in Atlanta, Georgia. Here's a captured a wild man, believe it or not. Southwest City, September 11th. This is 1891. This unusually quiet little village is thrown into incident excitement by a sudden appearance of what was supposed to be a maniac who came rushing through the streets to terrorize men and women and children. Only after a severe and struggle was he captured by the marshal and his assistants and lodged in the jail, where he had to be chained to the floor. He is of medium height and of a delicate build. Yet he snaps chains as though they were made of twine. He is most Wabigan specimen of a human family. His talk is more like a chatter of a monkey or a poll parrot than anything else. His entire body is covered with hair. For the past 6 months, there have been tales told in regard of a ghost having been seen in the timber to the south and the west of the city. One man claims to have been seen or has seen him astride of a phantom horse high up in the air, and came to town speechless from his fright and being frightened so much, and had to been escorted home. Then was again seen by a full-blooded Cherokee who was scared out of his wits. The Indian is an intelligent man. He says he first saw the man crawling on the ground like in snake fashion, as he supposed he was watching something, but on his nearer approach, the wild man sprang to his all fours and outran the Indian's horse. The most sensational tale yet told about the wild man comes from the source which cannot be disputed. This gentleman lives in Arkansas and is a minister of the gospel. He will make an abbot that he saw him sometime in the last August near Crump, a county store in Benton County, sitting astride a log, toying with 2 large snakes. One was an immense diamond rattler, and the other was a large black snake. After going through several queer contortions of the body, the wild man beheaded and devoured the rattler. Then, with a wave of his right hand, he mounted in midair and disappeared. The minister said he was so terrified that he could not move for at least an hour. Who the wild man is and where he came from, no one knows, and will be here today. Great numbers of people are coming in to see him. He glares at them, sometimes with a fiendish expression, and others he growls and restless, apparently. So he's running around out there, and that's all I'm going to read out of that. But it just tells you that through, the years, there was somebody out there. They were catching these things. Nobody talks about it. They were catching them. They were killing them. They were hunting them down. No wonder why the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whoever they are, don't come around, because, they got it imprinted that you stay away from humans. They'll catch you, kill you, You know what I'm saying?
Them white men will hurt you.
That's right. Stay away from them. Run away. Stay in the woods. Stay hidden. Don't go out at night. Anyway.
Well, see, and that's sort of the difference between what you said earlier, and which in some of the stories, I don't know if we've read them, but I know that I've heard them, is to where they would leave treats, so to speak, out on the edge of the around the camp, so that they could come up, and instead of the critter coming on into the camp, they'd leave something out on the edge out there, so that the critter would come up because they'd smell that food from 2 miles away, And, but, here's me and more soap. I don't have to go up there to the teepee. And so, and
Yep.
that, because the natives knew better, we're going to give them a treat and kind of feed them out on the edge. And, and rather than, oh my God, I'm going to shoot at it, So I think the white man, had more issues with the Sasquatch than native folk did, because native folk learned how to live with everything. They just did.
Well, see, that was the thing. Even the Cherokee guy, full-blooded Cherokee, sees him and was scared out of his wits.
Yep.
Obviously somebody, the natives were seeing him too. Anyway, where they come from,
Exactly.
We don't know. But anyway, guess what we got coming up, people? So don't run away just yet. We have the story of the night.
Or of the day.
Of the day. Story for the night. Yes, here we go. Anyway. Yeah.
All right, let me catch up with you.
Yep, no problem.
The Adventures of Living Statue. I thought I had enough time to smoke a cigarette. Let me put it out. No. I just put it out. I'm not supposed to have them anyway. So, and let me get a swig of coffee and.
Yep. Anyway.
As a little, as a little bit of an aside before I start the story, for those of you who are here now, I spent a couple of days in the hospital with them checking my heart. And they have come to find out that I have too much fluid on my heart, and that's what's making me feel like I'm having a heart attack all the time. So they have adjusted my medicine. They did a heart cath, and it showed that the two veins that were almost collapsed before are actually doing much better. So thumbs up to that. So I appreciate your prayers for those who gave them. I'm back and recovering. So thank you very much. And our story for tonight is The Adventures of Living Statue. And I'm still reading from the American Indian Fairy Tales book of Snowbird, the Water Tiger, and etc. by Margaret Compton of 1907. The Adventures of Living Statue. Living Statue was a great magician of the Ottawas who lived on the shores of Lake Huron. His wigwam was of skin that had been scrubbed and bleached until it shone like snow when the snow falls upon it, and it could be seen at a great distance. From the lodge pole downwards, it was covered with paintings, some done by the magician and others by his friends, each telling a wonderful tale of his magic. His couch was of white buffalo skins, which are very rare and precious. His pipes were the admiration of all who saw them, for they were ornamented with red feathers from the breast of the robin, blue from the jay, purple from the neck of the pigeon, and green from the throat of the drake. His moccasins of rabbit skin, dyed scarlet, were the softest that could be made. They were worked with beads, brought by a messenger from a far distant tribe who had received them from the pale faces that came across the big salt lake. But the most wonderful thing about these moccasins was that they were magic shoes, for every stride he took in them carried him over a mile of the ground. His flute was a reed cut in the swamp forest. When he blew a loud note upon it, the distant rocks answered him, and the little vanishing men who danced in the moonlight took up the music and laughed it back to him. When he breathed softly upon it, no Indian heard him, for the soul went straight into the heart of the flowers. The fairies, hearing it, crept forth and balanced themselves on the petals of the flowers that they might hear that better. The magician's sister, Sweet Strawberry, whose fawn skin robe may be seen in the moon on bright nights, sometimes rested on the topmost branches of the tall trees to listen. She had once lived with him, but the moon prince had taken her to be his bride, and all the tribe mourned for her as for one dead. Living Statue talked with the birds and the squirrels, who laid down and died and rolled out of their skins when he asked for them. He was the friend of all the rabbits, who were proud to have him eat them. When he had finished a meal, he read the story of the animal's life in its bones, and if it had been a good in its time, he stroked its skin and it came to life again and could never more be caught. One day, as Living Statue was walking across the plain near the edge of the forest, he met a little man no higher than his knee. The dwarf was dressed all in green and wore a green cap with a red plume in it. Fight me, said the dwarf, placing himself directly in front of the magician. Livingstone tried to kick him out of his path. Thereupon his foot began to swell so that he could hardly move. Fight me, said the dwarf, who again danced in front of him. Livingstone stooped and took hold of him, intending to throw him to one side, but he found the dwarf to be too strong for him. He strove in vain to lift him, so he wrestled with him till his arms were tired, but the dwarf was not overcome. At last, by a great effort, he pushed him from him, then rushed at him with all his might and succeeded in throwing him to the ground. He sprang quickly upon him and, taking out his knife, prepared to scalp him. Hold, said the dwarf. I see the Ottawa magician is a brave warrior, as well as a great wizard. He has fought and conquered me, though not by magic. I will show him greater magic than any he has ever known. When he had done speaking, he threw himself backwards and was changed into a crooked ear of corn, which rolled over and lay at the magician's feet. Take me, said the ear. Tear off the wrapper that is drawn so tightly about me, and leave nothing to hide my body from your eyes. Then pull my body to pieces, taking all the flesh from the bones, and throw the flesh upon different parts of the plain. Cover me with earth, that the ravens may not feast upon me. My spine you shall break in pieces no larger than your thumb, and shall scatter them near the edge of the forest. Go back to your village when you have done this, and return to this place after 1 moon. Living Statue did exactly what the dwarf had told him to do, but he said nothing to the Ottawas about his adventure. It was not for them to understand magic. They might try to do what he alone understood, and the spirits would be offended. When the hot moon had come, Living Statue went back to the plain where he had wrestled with the dwarf, and there he saw a field of long green plumes waving in the sunlight. They were smooth and glossy and dropped almost to the ground. In color, they were like the robe of the dwarf, only bright and shining. While he was looking and wondering, the dwarf suddenly sprang out of the broadest stalk and said, "You have done well. Let 1 moon pass and another appear before you come again. Then you will find a new food for the Ottawas, better than the wild rice, sweet as the blood of the maple, and strength-giving as the flesh of the deer." At the time appointed, Living Statue went again to the spot, and there he found the gift of corn. He brought his tribe to witness and to gather it. Then he and 3 other magicians painted their bodies with white clay and danced round the kettle in which it was being prepared. Which done, they took out the ears and burnt them as sacrifice. Then they put out the fire and lighted a fresh one, with which they cooked the spirit's berry for themselves. One night, when Living Statue lay asleep, he heard the curtain of his tent flap, and presently 2 dwarves entered and crept up to his couch. One climbed upon his legs and sat astride them. The other mounted to his breast and began feeling his throat. choke him, said the dwarf at his feet. I can't, my hands are too small and weak, said the other. Pull his heart out, said the first. The second dwarf began pounding and tugging at the breast of the sleeper. At this, the one astride his legs gave his companion a vicious kick and said in a hoarse whisper, You're stupid. Pull it out through his mouth. So the dwarf forced open the teeth of Living Statue and thrust his fingers far down his throat. Now, this was just what the magician thought he would do. So when the fingers were inside his mouth, he shut his teeth quickly and bit the fingers off. Then slowly raising himself, he threw the dwarf who was on his legs clear to the door of the wigwam. Oh, cried the one whose hand was bitten, and he howled like a dog. Oh, cried the other, and he howled like a wolf as the 2 disappeared in the darkness. The magician kept very still, then crept to the door and raised the curtain and put his head outside to listen, so that he might know in what direction they went. He heard them hurrying through the forest towards the lake. There was a soft splash as of water when a canoe bends to it beneath the weight of a man, and all was still. In the morning, living statue found that the fingers he had bitten off were long wampum beads, greatly prized by the Indians, and so valuable that they made him very rich. He had no trouble in following the trail of the dwarfs, for it was marked by drops of blood that were changed into wampum beads. He had enough to make a coat, a cap, and leggings, so that ever after he was known to all nations as the Prince of the Wampum. When he reached the lake, he saw a stone canoe, which was 4 times the length of his prow, and white as the waves when the strong wind races with them to the shore. 2 men were seated in it, one at the bow and the other in the stern. They were bolt upright, with their hands upon their knees, and did not look towards him. On going closer, he saw that they were the dwarfs turned into stone. The boat was filled with sacks of bearskin, in which was a treasure such as the magician had never before seen or imagined. As he was about to take some of it away, the dwarf whose fingers he had bitten off spoke to him and said, "In this manner the canoe of your people shall be loaded as they go past these shores, and no enemy shall be able to rob them." The magician took the statues to his wigwam, and afterwards they were set up in the sacred lodge of the tribe, the white canoe being placed between them. Many chiefs wished to give the Prince of Wampum their daughters in marriage, but he chose a star maiden, and they went to live in the fields of the sky, near the white, misty road of the dead. The end.
That's what I was waiting for.
What, the end?
Yeah, the end. Okay. And you just got all quiet. I'm thinking,
Oh, it's just that pregnant pause,
that's right.
dramatic effect. When you go to, put the story up on the, oh, I saw one yesterday that you posted, a story that you put up. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's me.
Yep, that's you.
Oh my God, that's me.
Yep.
I should do better. If you're going to chop them stories up, I should do better. Oh my God, that's me. But I think it was a year ago. But anyway, it showed up in my recommended. So that was a pretty good story. There wasn't no killing or chopping up or.
I know. I thought after he bit his fingers off, he found the stone canoe. I thought, oh boy.
Well, there was that, but the fact that he chewed off their fingers and it made him very rich. But at least he took the canoe and the dwarves and placed them in the lodge, and made them, they became a sacred item. So at least he did that. You know what I mean? So instead of just wishing them dead or whatever, no, he brought them home. So that's really interesting.
Yep. Well, everybody loved your story. Moral of the story, sometimes it does pay to bite off the fingers. Yeah, that's a good one. Just a little finger biting. Off the Hook says, appreciate both of you guys. Well, thank you so much. That's what we're here for. We love doing this to entertain you all out there because, hey, what else better we got to do? No, we love y'all. Love y'all. Thank you. Witchy Moon says, I love how you read, Hawkeye. Yes.
Thank you.
Lee Spitfire says, nice story. And I bet you got some nice cards for us tonight.
A whole lineup of cards.
Yep. Thumbs up.
So,
whole lineup.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Now get this. 7 cards. Snake.
Okay.
Spider. Deer. Antelope. Elk. Squirrel. And wolf. Now it's interesting. Only spider's upside down. And there are 3, there's deer, antelope, and elk. 3 in a row. All 3 of them right side up. So it's going to be interesting to see how these cards come out. So, but
okay,
normally we got half of them are upside down or up recently. We've had, of course, recently was a month ago, but
okay. I got 5 of them. Which ones? Deer. We got snake, spider, deer, antelope, elk, and what else?
Squirrel.
Squirrel
and wolf. Squirrel and wolf.
Oh. And wolf. It's a lot of them tonight. Holy jeez. Wolf is right on the list. We had some wolf talk in the day, right?
Yep. And the only one upside down is spider. So that's interesting. So let's get right on into it. We got 30 minutes. And I'm not going to read all the way through these things. I'm going to be hopping and skipping as far as, but I'm going to get to the basics of each one of these characters. So snake is the transmutation. Snake medicine people are very rare. Their initiation involves experience and living through the multiple snake bites, which allows them to transmute all poisons, that they mental, physical, spiritual, or emotional. The transmutation of the life, death, rebirth cycle is exemplified by the shedding of snake skin. It is the energy of wholeness, cosmic consciousness, and the ability to experience anything willingly and without resistance. Experience anything willingly and without resistance. That's important. It is the knowledge that all things are equal in creation. That is so very important. And that those things which might be experienced as a poison can be eaten, ingested, or integrated and transmutated if one has the proper state of mind. So in other words, somebody might give you something and tell you it's poison, and then you can transmutate it into maybe, something that will cure you. This medicine teaches you on a personal level that you are a universal being. So the first card up tonight is, remember that you are a universal being. Through accepting all aspects of your life, you can bring about the transmutation of the fire medicine. This fire energy, when functioning on the material plane, creates passion, desire, procreation, and physical vitality. On the emotional plane, it becomes ambition, creation, resolution, and dreams. On the mental plane, it becomes intellect, power, charisma, and leadership. When this snake energy reaches the spiritual plane, it becomes wisdom, understanding, wholeness, and connection to the Great Spirit. So when wholeness may be achieved, this is a heavy magic, but remember, magic is no more than a change in consciousness. The next one up is upside down spider. So we went from number 6 in the book to number 43 in the book. Spider is weaving. Spider's always weaving the magic, of the universe. Spider wove the web that brought humans the first picture of the alphabet. The letters were part of the angles of her web. Deer asked Spider what she was weaving and why all the lines looked like symbols. And Spider replied, "Why, dear, it is time for Earth's children to learn to make records of their progress in their Earth walk." And Deer answered Spider, "But they already have pictures that shows through symbols the story of their experiences." "Yes," Spider said, "but Earth's children are growing more complex, and their future generations will need to know more. The ones to come won't remember how to read the petroglyphs." Now, there are those of us who would state that in the future, those that will come later on, they won't be able to read what history is now, the petroglyphs. So the contrary aspect of Spider is akin to the negative side of a woman. Spider will eat her mate if she gets too caught up in herself to see the validity of honoring the male energy. The warrior at her side is a strong balancing force. If you have become disdainful of your mate, male or female, and have felt very superior recently, you are not honoring either your male or your female side. Be careful. If you're not presently in a relationship, you may have chosen a member of your family or a workmate to harass. Cut it out. You are entangled in the web of your own illusion about who you really are. If this does not apply to your situation, take a look at another message that contrary spider medicine brings: lack of creativity. And there's a lot of us that are being caught up in this universal energy and stuff that's going on. And a lot of us just don't feel creative at the moment. This could be it. If you fail to use your talents to get the web spinning, your lack of creativity can change into destructiveness. So be careful of that. And so our next card up is Deer. Now, I love this card, and we're going back to the other end of the book to number 4. So Deer, the short story was headed up Sacred Mountain to go have a chat with the Great Spirit. But on this mountain is a nasty, nasty troll. Bad, bad, bad on the road. And so anyone who goes up this mountain is scared and or killed by this nasty critter. And so Deer comes along and says, "Hey, I want to go up Sacred Mountain. I want to have a chat with the Creator." And the troll is finally, just because of the gentleness of the deer, it melts the demon's heart, to the size of a walnut. And deer, because of its gentleness, moseys on up to visit Sacred Mountain. And because of this, Sacred Mountain is open to all of us. The only thing that keeps us from going to Sacred Mountain and to having a chat with the Creator is our own fear. Deer teaches us to use the power of gentleness to touch the hearts and minds of wounded beings who are trying to go up Sacred Mountain. If Deer has gently nudged into your cards today, you are being asked to find the gentleness of spirit that heals all wounds. Snake is talking about transmutation. If this ain't a time of transmutation in this next week before the elections, Spider, be careful of the web we weave, and that make sure that we're not, weaving something that will lead to our destruction. Now, the next one, and we're going to the other end of the book again, to Antelope, number 37 in the book, which is action. When time was just beginning and the tribe of man was small, Antelope saw that the two-leggeds were naked, hungry, and in danger of extinction. The ancestors would soon vanish from Mother Earth if action were not taken. And so the antelope stepped in and talked with him and said, listen, if you're hungry, you should kill me and you should eat me. And they were like, well, but this is my gift to you, said the antelope. And so, but what if we're cold and then you will take my skin, said the antelope, and you will make clothing and to keep you warm. So this is my gift. So humans learned antelope's lesson well. Because of antelope, humans took proper action and survived to the present day. Antelope signifies knowledgeable action. Antelope is a symbol for the antenna of your hair, which attaches you to the great mystery by its long cords of light. Looking at antelope, you become aware of your mortality and the short time span you have on this planet. With this in mind, you must act accordingly. Proper action pleases the great mystery. Antelope medicine is the knowledge of life's circle. Knowing of death, antelope can truly live. Action is the key and the essence of life. Always listen to what antelope has to say to you. Antelope in your cards indicates a message of higher purpose for all of us. So here we are, deer, saying we can get up to Sacred Mountain. It's open. You don't have to fight with the demon to get there. And if you encounter the demon, use your gentleness. And the demons are all around us these days, but always listen to what the antelope says. Says that indicates a message of a higher purpose. And there's a lot of us who think that, with all this craziness going on, that, we were meant for this time. So you might have a higher purpose. Keep an eye on it, right? So elk is the next one up. We go back. Wait. Yep. We go back to the other end of the book, back to number 3. This is wild as far as from one end of the book to the other. And deer was number 4, gentleness, and now we're back to elk. And elk is stamina. So the story of elk is that he was being chased by a mountain lion, and the mountain lion was bounding over the rocks to get to the elk. And the elk, all he could do was stay just ahead of the mountain lion. And that why is the elk? It's the stamina of the elk that made it past the tree line and up into the hills. And the panther, the mountain lion, was just tuckered out. Said, you know, but it was the stamina of the elk. So elk medicine teaches that pacing yourself will increase your stamina. Elk medicine people may not be the first ones to arrive at a goal, but they always arrive without getting burned out. Elk have a curious kind of warrior energy because, except at mating time, they honor the company of their own gender. Elk could also be telling you to look at how you are holding up physically to the stresses in your life. We got a lot of stresses going on. I just got out of the hospital. I got to get strong again. This is probably a direct message for me to build my stamina up, but it also, you know, it is a message to y'all. And that you may need to pace yourself so that you maintain an equilibrium of energy. So with all these messages, that's a good thing, to maintain your equilibrium and maintain your balance, if you will, with all these changes. And then the next one is squirrel. Now, all of these are straight up except the spider. And squirrel is back to the middle of the book, 26. And squirrel is basically, you know, what are you hiding? What are you gonna, you know, save for the winter? And it is that time, and squirrel is about the gathering. So it is a time for gathering for the winter. There's a bunch of us that have been saying, you know, get enough up for the next couple of months. Make sure you got some, you know, some provisions up. And it is wintertime. You know, there could be a snowstorm that would just tear up in the northeast or the northwest, you know. So squirrel is about the gathering. And the gathering power of squirrel medicine is a great gift. It teaches you how to gather and to store your energy. Okay, it's not just physical things, but your energy too. For times of need, it teaches you to reserve something for future use. And we got a future coming up we don't know about, right? So save up some energy. You might need it. Whether it be a judgment and an opinion, a savings account, candles, or extra food, okay? To put it in a nutshell, squirrel is the Boy Scout of the animal kingdom. Always be prepared. That's the message of squirrel. Always be prepared. So if squirrel has scurried into your cards today, it may be that you're being told to honor your future by readying yourself for change. Changes are coming, my friends, in a week's time. So squirrel is telling you, be prepared. Now, the last one on the list tonight is number 15, wolf. And as I remember, number 15, wolf, it's about the teacher. It's also about the pack, too. Wolf is the pathfinder, the forerunner of new ideas, who returns to the clan to teach and to share medicine. Wolf, in the great star nation, wolf is represented by the dog star, Sirius, which legend tells us was the original home of our teachers in ancient times, up in the sky. Sirius was thought to be the home of the gods by the ancients. The senses of wolf are very keen, and the moon is its power ally. We're just coming out of full moon and going into new moon. If you have drawn wolf's card, You may be able to share your personal medicine with others. So through the cards, Antelope is like, shared what he had to help everyone. And Elk is telling you to gather your stamina. And Squirrel is telling you to gather your energy and to store it up. And Wolf is telling that you might be the teacher to share that which you have in future events. We don't know what's coming, but we do know something's coming. So be prepared. There's 7 cards for tonight, and I went through them in like under 25 minutes. How about that? And I don't think I missed anything.
I think you did great. I think you did awesome.
And these are some pretty valid cards. I mean, Snake with transmutation. We all know that these changes here with the election and stuff, and every single one of us has been affected by it, whether we like it or not. So this Snake card, transmutation, we are all being changed. We're losing our skin. Some of us are losing our thick skin. Some of us are coming out of hiding, And then there's Spider, make sure you don't weave the wrong thread. You're welcome, Richard. And Deer, I always love Deer because Deer always says that the road to Sacred Mountain is always open, and there are folks that just, they sweat over, well, I can't talk to the Great Spirit or I have to do something. Nah, the Deer says it's open. They done paved the way, So take care. And Antelope, the sharing. And Elk with stamina. Gather your stamina. Winter's coming, and Squirrel, make sure you gather up your energy. And Wolf, you're going to teach it to others and share it. I like that message. I do. I like them cards tonight. So thank you. It's been a while since I've pulled any cards. So thank you to the creator and thank you to all of you who are out there. Because while Robert was telling stories, I was pulling cards. So I was pulling cards for y'all, So you're the reason you got them cards. You wanted them.
That's right. We will work hand in hand there, Yes. Off the hook. Thank you. Thanks for all your time and energy, Hawkeye. Yep. Thank you very much.
And we did a story and cards, 7 cards under an hour.
Yeah, we did.
I still got it.
That's right. There you go. Thank you. Everybody's See, they're glad to have you back. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes, it is. Well, give a big shout out to everybody. Mary Wins is in the house. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Off the hook. Scotty Boy is always here, ready and waiting without pants on. Probably something, though, I hope. Anyway, Susie Q, Lady Spirit, Richard the Red, thank you. We had a lot of people in here tonight. Chloe, thank you for being here. Maybe she's got a little time off. She usually gets done with work and stops in to visit us and then joins you. Are you going to have a show tonight?
If YouTube is allowing me to be out of jail.
All right. Yeah, it's been a while, so maybe YouTube will let you out of jail. Witchy Moon is in the house there. I think we had some new people tonight I seen here earlier, and I can't find them right now. Elderberry. Yes, Elderberry, if you're listening, big shout out to you. All our chatters in here. I think we got everybody's. I remember seeing Joanne Dancing Gypsy. Jojo, thank you for being here, joining us tonight. I think I got everybody, and I can. F Kitty was here earlier, and Steve Bow. Thank you for all of us joining all of us together. It's always great when we can get together and, listen to the cards, some good stories, a little bit of information, and Halloween being right up around the corner. We have to get in those cryptids, the crazy things that go bump in the night. And yes, they do go bump in the night when you're not expecting them, and everything is great. And then a wild man, the grass man, the Loch Ness monster comes and gets you, when you're least expecting it. So anyway, you know how that goes. And Lucky Stone, he's like says, Hawkeye is naughty and should feel shame in YouTube jail. Yeah, I know. No, because I know that one day you just said every word in the sun, and I was going, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But hey, every once in a while you have to just do it, right? It happens. Halloween right around the corner. It happens. That's right. Yeah. Off the Hook says our First Amendment rights need to be restored. Yep. YouTube says there are rights and we can do whatever we want, just like these darn flies keep flying around. I swear. Can't wait till cold weather gets here. Oh, it's here, but they're still coming out. Flies. I hate flies. Anyway, show tonight. I'm going to try. I am going to be back. I'll be back on Saturday. Yes, Susie Q says, Mega 2024. Yes, we're going to have ourselves our annual election show coming up on Saturday. I hope I can get some good guests on we'll talk about the election and not to be political. We're going to try to do it non-political, but how are we being fooled? Is both sides the same as one-sided coins, Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is, right? Thank you, Chloe. She says, have a great night, everyone. Robert.
Let me ask, since we're here and chatting, next Tuesday is election night.
Yes.
So are we going to try to do a show next Tuesday night during election?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be done. Of course we are.
Okay. Sure. All right. Yeah. I'm just asking ahead of time because, going to be a lot of people watching them results come in. And
maybe we'll be watching a little bit of that too ourselves, and it's not like somebody says, no political, but yeah, I don't want to be political, but there is magic and it affects everybody. And that's the thing. It's even if you're not talking about the political, it still affects everybody. We all have to make decisions, whatever the outcome may be, good or bad. Does it really matter if we elect these candidates or not? I think Lucky Stone's right. It should be comedy night. Well, maybe we will make it into a little bit of a comedy, eh? That's the thing. It's we put too much into this. People make or break their lives by this election. It's like, oh boy, if Dingle Fritz wins, I'm going to buy a new house. Well, if the other guy wins, well, I'm going to dig a hole and cover my head in the sand for another 4 years. I ain't going to do nothing because, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And you know what? Doesn't matter. Does it really affect your life? I don't know. I want to hear your opinions, and it's all going to be about that. And that's what's going to be. So we're going to figure it out. Are these politicians casting spells? Do they have witches working for them? I don't know. Are they being controlled by the Illuminati? Maybe. Yeah.
Some of them are. Oh, yeah.
Some of them are.
And don't you mess with my Social Security no more. Because they already have messed with my Social Security. And us old folks don't need nobody messing with our Social Security.
Yep. Off the Hook says we're all in God's hands, and I don't know if that's true or not, because it's not God that affects the election, it's men. I've realized that all the things around us, especially doing this Native American Myths and Legends show, is none of these events would ever occur if it wasn't for men. You get to looking around in nature, and nature takes care of itself. The trees grow, the grass grows, the water falls from the sky, food comes from the earth. If you nurture nature, you can sustain your life and live a good life. But once you start mixing in laws and political and money and all this jargon, you get people who are hateful. You got people who want to do certain things and make everybody conform. And the next thing you know, you have a jumbled, chaotic mess. And that's my answer to all of that. What do you think?
And you have politicians that turn into skinwalkers.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And you got true. Politicians that change colors and become Sasquatch,
Well, and that's exactly it. True. They cast their spell and they become whatever you want them to be, just for that small period of time. And then once that's over, they turn into something else. What was Bush's favorite saying? That one that was.
Didn't hear you. Whatever it was that Bush said, we missed it. He got froze again. The internet loves to do this.
There we go. Yeah. I said, didn't Bush say no new taxes? And then he raised the taxes. So
yeah.
Anyway. We don't want to talk about that right now, because we're going to move on, and just join me on Saturday. And we'll be talking about election stuff. So with that, remember, we'll be back next Tuesday for another great show with number 149. And okay, so with that, just be well, everybody. Take care, and be the frequency you want to receive with a little bit of wizard in you, right? So take care. Love you all, people. Love you much. Bye. See you later, everybody.
Cheers.